So yeah.
Okay.
We're not even gonna talk about it.
Okay.
Second week of the live feed.
I started to say something, but then I was like,
I'm
no.
scared.
I saw the thing moving, and I was like, oh yeah, never mind.
Yeah, no,
Just
the audio
just don't.
But
We're not gonna even say it.
Okay, so this is our second week doing this YouTube live
Okay.
feed. And last week I had the entire first segment going but no audio. This week the audio was up, but the entire segment did not record on video because I forgot to click this green button.
Oh, but you know what? I saw that button in the corner that said live, but I didn't know it was supposed to be yellow. Like it just said live, so I just thought we were.
Yeah. So.
That first segment didn't go?
No, I mean the audio
there, but
Okay,
good.
good.
The video was not there, and somebody.
Oh, well, you can shut off my video.
Oh no. No.
Thank you.
So yeah.
We have this.
Yes, we have the audio, so that's good. But no, so somebody texted me. This person has been texting me like suggestions, and I have no idea who they are. And we've been texting back and forth, and I'm like scared to ask like, who is this? Because clearly
They're probably gonna address you now. They're gonna be like, hey. They're gonna be like, hey.
So because my phone is so ridiculous, so it deletes people's numbers and doesn't save numbers. And I'm like, I don't want to like ask like who is this because I'm like, did I delete your number or no? But I'm pretty sure this person I didn't delete because we've been talking back and forth for a while. So I was like, no, but
Hit him with the new phone. Who's this?
yeah, escalated this. Oh gosh, I just need to get my technology life together. So next
we're gonna have a checklist.
yes, next week we're gonna have a checklist and everything's gonna be right. Because goodness gracious.
Yeah. All right.
Every week this week. Gotta get it. So
You want 1 or 2 apps?
2. Oh.
Should I text you? Oh, okay. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Sorry about my stupid phone.
Y'all need to train old dude on all this stuff you're doing over here. You know, I'm antiquated on my IT skills.
I'll train as soon as I learn how to do it
My boy came in
properly.
and said, HP, your system should be crashed. My whole C drive was like just totally full.
Oh no.
The red emergency bar was up. I didn't know what to do.
Oh wow.
So all my shows were trying to snap in C drive. So
Mhm.
'cause I was just redirected to F.
So it's been working good since then?
Oh man, I
Oh,
got
that's good.
tons of space on my F drive.
Yeah.
I've been doing
Really?
I've been doing this working.
All right, ladies, one time. Come on. Got it.
I'm wearing my feet today. So this is the last of my like treatment thing. Had to get this part done. And one time I didn't have to get this part done. I didn't have to get numb this time though.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, they did the whole mouth, but now my gums like hurt when I bite down. So I just bought a smoothie for lunch because I'm like, I don't even want to eat anything.
Yeah, how are you gonna chew without being okay?
But it's not as bad as it was before.
Yeah.
I had to like a leave. Like it was like,
Yeah, no. Luckily, I don't know. I like suffer through it. Like if I'm hungry, I'm just gonna suffer through it and eat anyway. I'm like, not gonna deprive myself. No, but when my wisdom teeth got taken out, that day sucked so bad because I was so hungry and all I could have was like some mashed potatoes. And I was like, really?
And pudding. I was just
And my
It's like a whole buffet of soft things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I lost like 10 pounds. I'm sure I did.
I was just upset because all the stuff I wanted was stuff I couldn't have.
I ate a McDonald's cheeseburger the day after I got my tonsils out.
Really?
Yeah. My dad was like, my mom was at home. My dad was like, really? You want cheeseburger? I'm like, yeah, I want cheeseburger.
Oh, dads are awful for that. They really will do like whatever. Like that is not a good
I gotta get
idea.
the cheese taken out. This with that one. So I'm gonna look forward to that. At some point, somewhere down the road this year. Hopefully.
Yeah. I just generally despise the dentist.
Yeah. They're so nice though. And then
My dentist was rude.
My dentist skips.
Oh, you need
I don't know why I'm gonna use the mic like that.
Rude and expensive. I was like, I can't do
No.
Oh,
I
I
know. Like a dentist.
Yeah,
My
It's
dentist
always
has like
playing
different
fun
issues.
music.
gets one
There's always
every-
talking shit, even though his hands in your mouth.
Yeah,
you're like,
it's disguised the process.
Yeah.
Like giving me flowers.
Yeah. Weirdo. You're not into it at all.
Yeah, it is.
This is a new. I've never. This is a new day too.
Yeah. The dentist that I go to have only been a couple times.
And they're like 2 minutes from my house.
Mine too.
Yeah, because like literally, I left it like right on time.
Yeah, it's like, oh, my appointment's right now. So leave.
That's how my dentist was in Muncie. It was like right across from my apartment. Like I could like walk out and it was like right there. It was perfect.
You gotta show the paper.
Oh yeah, I have one there. Well yeah, no, we can show it when we come back from break. Because we're supposed to talk about it at 11:15. But yeah, we can show it when we go back.
1 second. Do it.
Welcome back to the Recorder Report. You're listening to RadioNext.tv. If you want to take us with you on the go, you can download the TuneIn app on your phone, and that's how you keep RadioNext.tv in your pocket. And we're also online. I thought I'd get a little creative there.
You did. You got it back to listen. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
So you can also visit us online at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on the Indianapolis Reporter's website. We got an event coming up this weekend, a big deal. We're very excited about it. It's our authors meetup event. It's on Saturday, not tomorrow. It's on Saturday from 11 to 1 at Indy Reads Books on Massachusetts Avenue. And today we're talking with a few of the different authors who are going to be there on our author panel. You heard from Carmen Glenn just previous to the break. And right now we've got Tammy Winfrey Harris.
Yes, we do. She is one of my favorite authors right now. The Sisters Are Alright was like amazing. So she's the author, you're welcome. She's the author of this really excellent book. It's titled The Sisters Are Alright. And her work has been published in Cosmo, Huffington Post, a bunch of other great publications. I mean, she's fantastic. And the fact that she's here in our city and not from some far away place is amazing. So I'm honored to have her here with us today. Amy, how are you doing?
Thank you for having me.
Oh,
I'm
you're so
great.
welcome.
Happy to be here today.
Excellent, excellent. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I am, by day, I'm the Vice President of Communications and Marketing at the Idyllwild Museum. So after you guys come to the Recorder event on Saturday, you should come over for the opening of the Grand Canyon exhibit.
I read about that.
Oh,
But-
really? Cool.
Yeah, it's going to be very cool, opening
Yeah.
day. But for about last decade, and my lifelong dream was to write a book. And for about the last decade, I've written a lot about gender and race and how they intersect with pop culture and politics and current events. And I've written for places like the New York Times, Bitch Magazine, Huffington Post, Cosmopolitan, Ebony. And probably about 3 years ago, I always say Steve Harvey pushed me over the edge. Because about 3 years ago, this conversation started about Black women's lack of marriageability. And a lot of the ways that people talked about that were definitely through the lens of both sexism and racism. And so it seemed, initially I was going to write a book about Black women in marriage. But as I did more research and I started working with my publisher, I realized that a lot of the same stereotypes that were the foundation of that discussion about Black women in marriage were also the foundation of a lot of things people say about Black women, you know, about the way we look, about, you know, how we live, marriage, health, sex, all of those things. And so, you know, The Sisters Are All Right is kind of a culmination of all my work about race and gender. And I interviewed more than 100 Black women all across the country and talked to them about a variety of topics, you know, sex and motherhood and marriage and anger and strength and all of the things to kind of offer people, one, look at the stereotypes about Black women, but most importantly, reveal the truth as told by Black women. Because a lot of people talk about us without talking to us. So Sisters Are All Right was published in July of last year, so we're about 6 months in. My publisher is Barrett Kohler Publishers, so I am traditionally published.
Yes, traditionally published. And for the people who don't understand the difference, could you give us a brief explanation of the difference between being traditionally published and doing the self-publishing thing?
So I think Carmen gave a good overview of, you know, when you're a self-published, you're kind of doing all that stuff yourself. You're writing it, you're marketing it, you're securing an editor, you're the one who's pushing to sell it, you know, getting it on Amazon or, you know, other places. With a traditional publisher, that means, you know, you hear names like HarperCollins and Knopf, and there are a lot of independent publishers too, smaller ones like Barrett Kohler. And in that case, you know, my publisher worked, you don't pay for anything up front. My publisher, you know, vets my idea, makes sure that it's marketable. They get me beta readers, so someone reads through my book manuscript and make sure it's okay, it's logical, everything flows correctly. They secure copy editors to go through to make sure you don't have, you know, errors. They work with you on a book cover and, you know, in my case, get a professional artist to design the cover. They do all of the production. They have a sales team that goes out and makes sure. One of the things, you will very rarely see self-published books in, say, bookstores like Barnes & Noble, or you very rarely see them in the library, places like that. But a publisher has the ability to get your book distributed, to not only print but distribute your book, and they help you with marketing your book as well. Not a ton, unless you're like Toni Morrison or Stephen King. You know, they're not spending hundreds of thousands of dollars promoting your book, but they do give you some support, media support. They help to line up my book tour and things like that. So, you know, if you're really entrepreneurial and you're willing to do all of that stuff yourself, then I think a lot of people move towards self-publishing. I think, but if you want to work with, one of the reasons that I wanted to be traditionally published was, as a book nerd girl, I wanted little girls and women like me who go into bookstores, I wanted them to discover my book. I wanted my book in libraries. I wanted my book used in classrooms, which it is. And those are the things that are hard to get with self-publishing. I kind of wanted that credibility that came with an exposure. But, you know, self-publishers probably make a lot more money on each book than I do. So.
Question. So it seems as if the publisher does a lot for you. I mean, there's a long list of things that they do for you. What do they ask for in return besides the actual content?
Your book.
Okay, I was going to say, your book. Is there anything else?
Well, then they, you know, they get the lion's share of the money that comes. You get your advance. It depends on how much of an advance you get. I think for a first-time author, you might be looking at $3,000 to $10,000 of an advance. but then on each book you get a percentage of the sales.
Got it.
Okay.
And then you have to earn back your advance, and then you start receiving royalties.
Sounds eerily familiar to the music industry.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah, definitely.
Very, very interesting.
As far as when the book came out and all of the amount of coverage that it got and how it just took off online and people talking about it and everything, did any of that surprise you or shock you, or was it like, I knew this was good, so I kind of expected it to have this sort of...
It's still, I would say I own it. I knew it was going to be good.
Yeah.
I hoped. I had my fingers crossed.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I had hoped it would be good because I just knew from being active on social media and talking to I'm a Black woman, and I knew how hungry we are to hear stories about ourselves. So I felt like it would respond to people, and I feel like I had a little bit of an edge over some authors in that I am a marketing person, which is a good skill to have. So
Definitely.
I was able to finally use those skills in service of me,
Yes.
instead of other things. But it was still a surprise, and it still feels good when someone hits me up on Facebook and says, oh my God, or says on Twitter, oh my gosh, I'm reading this right now and it's so moving and this is just like my experience. So it never gets old.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I want to talk about the piece that was published in Cosmo where you were talking about Black women and sexuality. I saw, because I follow you on Facebook, of course, I saw that you got some backlash from certain groups of people because of that, and I just wanted to have you elaborate on that.
So, well, the article was about, we all know that Black women struggle. There's a stereotype that we're hypersexual.
Yeah.
And so one of the ways that a lot of us are raised to counter that is, you be upstanding, don't be sexual, you be upright, don't be sexual in public, prove that you're not what they say you are, which is why a lot of women who are in entertainment, who are, sexy, Beyonce comes out in her onesie, with her legs out, and people are like, you're
that
Jezebel,
how dare you?
And so the article was about that, how that kind of thinking actually can damage Black women in having healthy sexuality because they're so busy about, worrying about not being a Jezebel.
Okay.
And so I guess some men, it was all men, were not happy about free Black woman sexuality. And
bizarre.
It's weird.
Yeah. But I have to say, I have written a lot, and people get, a lot of women get harassed on the internet. That was the first article that I've written that just got men riled up.
Why do you think that particular one got them so riled up as opposed to anything else you've written on the topic?
Because I just think it flies in the face of what people think Black women should be. And we were talking about our needs and people don't like that.
Yeah.
People don't like a free Black woman.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
It is so evident. I read something the other day where it was talking about these memes that you see on the internet, and I hate all of them. Well, some of them are funny, but the ones having to do with the whole respectability thing are the most annoying.
Right.
So there was one where it has Aisha Curry on one side, and it has like some other really sexy chick on the other side, and it's like putting them like against each other. Like, you should want to be like Aisha Curry and be married and be covered, and not like this other girl who's not any of that. And then there's this whole thing that spun out of that I Can Be Both movement, where women were putting up pictures of themselves like in a professional setting, but then in a sexy setting at the same time. And I was talking to my boyfriend about it, and his thing was, well, why should you even need to put something like that up? Like, who are you proving? Like,
that's my question, because to me, what's understood doesn't have to be explained. You don't have to, like, why do you feel like you need to do, I don't know, maybe that's just me personally. I don't feel like I have to prove it to anybody, because I'm okay with it with myself. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess for me, I saw both sides, but I brought that up because I wanted to get your thoughts on that whole thing.
Well, I think the reason people feel like they have to it's not that they have to prove anything, but I think Black women, as Black men, women, period, you get this barrage of people who have opinions on what you should be. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I think people get fed up with that and want to say, hey, this is who I am and I have a right to be this way. Mm-hmm. When people spend a lot of time dissecting how you should be, how you should live, how you should dress, the public has, it's like the society has ownership over our bodies, mm-hmm. and everyone feels free to talk about how we should behave. I mean, you look at, as an example, Michelle Obama in the White House, mm-hmm. far more dissected than any other first lady mm-hmm. you have seen. Everything she does is picked apart, despite yes. the fact that she is one of the most accomplished mm-hmm. and one of the most accessible first ladies we've ever had. Yeah. It's like, well, what clothes is she wearing?
How much
her
did
butt's
it cost?
Too big.
Yeah.
Well, she looks angry. Well, why is she always eating vegetables? I mean, it's like they have it's like America. Barack Obama too, and society feels like they have ownership over women's lives, over Black women's lives, marginalized people's lives. Do the same with Barack Obama. He's got his feet up on the table. Why has he got this suit on? It's a light suit. It's not a dark suit. And, I think sometimes people just feel like I am me and I can own who I am.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you guys for listening. Stay tuned. You're listening to the Recorder Report here on RadioNext.tv.
Feed that knowledge.
Hello, ladies.
Hi. Hello. Nice to meet you, Ebony.
That's one.
Hey. What's up? What's new with you?
Nothing much. I brought in some books for you guys.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Appreciate that. Most definitely. Antoine, this is Tamara Winfrey here. She's going to be one of our panelists on Saturday alongside you, Carmen, and Miss Rita Wise. Thanks for making yourself available today.
No problem. Thanks for
No problem. I
had to have author Harold Bell next time on your little pack.
You said what now?
I said you got to have Harold Bell.
You said what now?
Skipping this weird news. Yeah. Just got here, and then he's here.
Well, we weren't going to do that until, let's see.
Antoine, I might have to,
oh, I see what time it is. Yeah, our timing is off. Yeah, we can skip that. I didn't realize what time it was.
Okay. Ebony, sorry, she looked at me and was like, go ahead, ask something, and I was like,
yeah, no,
I'm sorry, I didn't have anything.
No, that's fine. I didn't know if you did. So I was like, I don't want it.
Next time I won't make eye contact.
Okay. Because that's what I thought. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just listening, and then I was like, I don't have anything to say.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that Aisha Curry thing got on my nerves so bad. So bad. I was like, well, what does this have to do with anything? I don't know.
And why even compare the two? I mean, where the means you could be President Obama or you could be Fetty Wap. I mean, what they have nothing to do. They have nothing to do with each other.
Not at all.
Why can't you be both?
I believe he's yeah, he's got office in there. Right down the hallway, through that door, straight, when you go out my door, go to your left, there's a door down at the end of the hall. Go in there and ask if Alfred in there.
The paper, the width of it, like women are holding it back so it covers their waist, and so it's basically saying your waist is smaller than this width of the paper. It's so great. Like Kelly and I were watching yesterday, like what? Like this is real?
So
like that's
your
the
waist
thing.
shouldn't be the
It should be smaller than this.
It should be.
Yeah,
This would be
this would be
8.5 inches.
Yeah, this would be your, part of your shoulders that go up, and then this would be part where your, everything else goes down. But they're saying that this width of the paper should be your waist. And I was like, see, we're paying this false protection. I'm already mad about the waist training thing because people are losing their mind. themselves. They don't know if they're rearranging their organs.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
not that serious. Anyway, I just thought that was so stupid.
I didn't even know what. I never heard of that.
I forget
until
what
right
it's called.
now.
Like Kelly might remember when she gets in, but it was on the news yesterday. And I was
It's like every time I look up, we come up with something new. Like my sister was asking about the thigh gap. She was like, I didn't even get it. She's
Was it there?
16. She's like, what is
Okay.
it?
Now there's
Nothing
something
important.
new. It's a thigh brow. Like thigh gaps are out. It's like if you sit like back on your leg.
oh yeah, this
like
part.
this, it's supposed
It's
to.
here.
Yes. I'm
It's like folded part.
Can you imagine
cares?
all the little minute, like,
I've heard of that, but I didn't know that's what it's called.
yes, thigh brows is now the new thing.
I didn't know. I'd never heard of that either until right now.
Kelly, what was the name of the thing, the segment we saw in the news about the paper and the race?
Oh, like A4? Because that's like the size of the paper is A4.
Right, okay.
Like A4,
That's what it was.
I was like, how do I look?
You blew it out the water, Kelly. You're just not even. You just quit now.
I need that legal size paper.
I know, right? It's the only way I'm gonna be in the game. That is just the craziest mess I've ever heard. Like, what?
Ridiculous.
I almost want to know who is coming up with this stuff.
Like people who have too much time on their hands and have no life.
Yeah, that has to be it. Cause I'm like, I don't really trust that teenagers are like coming up with this. I don't feel like I don't think I was that advanced as a teenager.
I don't think they come up with it. I think they try to follow it once it's there, but I don't think they
but they come up with it now.
I know we used to talk about thigh gaps and stuff when I was in school, but it was before social media was a big deal. So
Really?
it didn't become like a thing, you know, where people were sharing pictures of their thigh gap or whatever.
Yeah, no, I didn't know what a thigh gap was until like last year.
Yeah, because like growing up, like we don't want thigh gaps. Like,
Oh,
we're
no.
opposite.
That's not
Black
okay.
people want thighs.
Yeah.
They
Well,
want-
it wasn't like, oh my god, I have no thigh
Yeah.
gap. It was just like I'm losing my thigh gap or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, it's like your legs are attached to where they are
Yeah.
on your hips. There's not, there's no like,
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's just the older I get, the more I feel like I'm in the twilight zone when I see certain stuff. So I'm like, this can't be serious. Or this can't be a thing. Like, why do we care about this? Of all the things we could care about. I don't know. It's weird. Very
it's like going backwards.
Yeah.
If you look at, we look at all those pictures of women like in the early 1900s or 1800s and laugh because, oh my God, they're wearing those corsets and they're fainting all the time and they got a big bustle on. But sort of, we were wearing waist trainers and butt pads, so what's the difference? It's the same thing.
There is no difference. And then you look at those ads. Like I saw an old ad for Lysol, and it was like put a little bit of Lysol in your water to keep your husband happy. Like they were suggesting that women put Lysol in their bath water. And I was like, oh my God, no.
Well, what is it supposed to do?
I ain't never heard
It's
of
like
that.
I
a
heard of vinegar, but I never heard of it.
yeah,
I heard of
vinegar is
that.
normal,
That's
but like no, the Lysol, it's like I guess some sort of like feminine like cleansing thing.
The chemicals are out there for you to soak in.
Yeah, for you to soak in.
That's why. You be messed up after this.
I know.
I know. But I was like, this is completely ridiculous. But it was a real ad from like a long time ago for like it was like, this is ridiculous. Like, what? But people do crazy stuff like that now. Like all these different treatments you can get that are completely unnecessary. Like, listen, the good Lord gave you what you got, what he gave you for a reason. There's no reason to go tampering with it.
They never had a market like this. So, right now the health and wellness, with the baby boomers just like exploding 10 million a day, turning 65, they are preying on that. Stay young. You can have sex till you're 90. They are pumping that demographic, man, so hard. Boy, I said, damn. And they think, all these TLC, all these health and wellness products, they just throwing it at the market and people are buying it and believing it. And I said, man, ain't no magic potions, dude.
No, you better leave that mess alone. Water is the magic potion.
Yeah, drink plenty of water. These sodas alone. Don't eat a whole bunch of fatty foods and stuff,
There's no miracles.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
And they've got that population crazy.
Because it's
I'm
a
teaching literacy
generation.
computer skills to that old group. That's what I'm doing. Seriously.
Yeah.
They don't know how to use it. I got stats and data saying 65 and older, especially African Americans, only 68%. 68% aren't on the internet.
Really?
Yeah. African Americans over 65.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a market.
Wow.
I got a plan. Go ahead, Abby.
Hello, everyone. You're listening to the Recorder Report here on RadioNext.tv. If you'd like to take us on the go, make sure you download the TuneIn app. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. For our Twitter and Instagram handle is @IndieRecorder, and our Facebook page is Indianapolis Recorder Newspaper. We'll also have an authors meetup this Saturday, March 26th, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Indie Reads Books on Massachusetts Avenue. And we are also streaming live on YouTube right now, so make sure that you go and check us out at the Recorder Report to see us, all the behind-the-scenes stuff that you don't get to hear on this regular show, all the crazy conversations that we just recently had. So make sure that you go there. But right now we are with author Tammy Winfrey Harris, and we are talking about a variety of things with her writing and her books, and just even some controversial things as well. Definitely.
Yeah, interesting. Nothing like a little controversy to get you going on a Thursday morning. So before we went to break, we were talking about the whole I Can Be Both movement, and you mentioned earlier about how Steve Harvey kind of pushed you over the edge, and that's that was the beginning seed that was planted for what ultimately became The Sisters Are All Right, which is a really, really excellent book. What are your thoughts on, we talked about Steve Harvey earlier, what are your thoughts on Tyrese and Rev Run's show? I ran across something, I've never watched the show, but I ran across something with Amber Rose not too long ago where she was talking about consent and what that means. And I know, discussing women's bodies earlier, even in our local government, people feeling like they have say-so, they have control over women's bodies and things like that. That continues to be an issue in society, and I want to know what some of your thoughts are on that whole thing.
What I need people to do is to stop giving Black women advice. People who are not Black women, imagine the condescension that takes for me to say, have a television program and say, I'm about to tell Black men how they should behave and what they ought to do to be more marriageable to Black women. That's awful. I assume that Black women are good as they are. There are some good ones, there are some bad ones, and they should be themselves and find themselves a partner if they want one. But the shows like the Rev Run and Tyrese come from this place where they're assuming that Black women need help and need advice to be good partners and to know how to find partners, and I just don't think it's true. And I think that belief is born of sexism, one, and also racism and how people think of Black women as partners, and that we don't make good mates innately, that we have to be taught and coached to do what other women can do naturally.
Most definitely. And why do you feel like things like that are so successful, but then on the flip side, a woman like yourself, who is a Black woman who's speaking to empowerment and who's letting people know, like, you're all right, be okay in your all rightness and develop from there. Why do you think that, women like yourself get such I don't know how to say, but a bad rep from certain segments of our own community, but people flock to want to hear what a Steve Harvey or a Tyrese or a Rev Run has to say about us?
Well, I think one woman that I interviewed for The Sisters Are All Right said something I think is really astute. One, we know all women are kind of judged by whether or not they're booed up and partnered up. That's a thing all women have to deal with.
Yeah.
And I think, one of the women I talked to said, everyone wants a plan. The reality of marriage and partnership is, it is all chance. You may get married, you may not. I'm married, and there are plenty of women who are more beautiful, smarter, kinder, whatever than I am. But my husband and I connected, we're great together, we got married. But saying It's All Up to Chance doesn't sell books, and it doesn't sell television programs, and it doesn't sell radio shows.
Mm-hmm.
People want to believe that there's a formula, so you can always get rich by giving people hope, even if that hope, even if it's false hope and makes no sense.
Wow.
So just telling people to be yourself and go out and live your life and be happy, where's the money in that? I mean, most consumer businesses, there's a whole makeup industry, and food. We were just talking about the health industry with potions that make you young and have sex till you're 90 and don't turn gray. And there's always money in giving people hope and telling them that there's something they can change about themselves to be better.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's true. That's very, very true.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if I tell you you can act like a lady and do whatever it is he talked about, and then your husband will fall from the sky, then I'm gonna buy that because I want me a man, and maybe this will be the thing that gets me one, you know?
Yeah, certainly. What are some of the other things that you are working on in the future as far as your writing is concerned?
So right now I'm working on my proposal for my next book, which is tentatively titled Black Girl Power, Radically Raising Tomorrow's All Right Sisters. And it's focused on Black girls. So we're now talking to Black girls about the things that they face and how stereotypes affect Black girls. For instance, Black girls are being pushed out of schools at high numbers. They are suspended at higher rates than other girls, and sometimes for the same things that other girls do, because again, there's that idea of the angry Black woman, and that when Black girls act out, they are somehow dangerous, and they are punished more severely, just as Black boys are. But a lot of times we forget that those things happen to Black girls too. So we're talking to, I'm writing it with a co-author, her name is Deshawn Perry Smitherman. And we're talking to Black girls right now. And then there's also going to be a second part to this book. We're talking to parents, mothers, and experts about, okay, so what do we do with this? How do we get girls to all rightness instead of them having to like work through 30, 40 years of figuring out who they are in face of this society that is racist and sexist? How do we help them get there now and help them through all of the pressures? So that's what I'm working on now. And as you mentioned, I have an article in this month's Cosmopolitan about Black women's sexuality.
Wonderful.
I do have a question. I'm just thinking, as an author, of course, you're spending a lot of time with your own full-time job and writing. But as far as reading, what are some of your favorite books that you like to read? Outside of your own things, of course, because it's so fabulous.
It feels like, do you know how big my stack is next to my bed of books? And I'm like,
I can only imagine.
Because it has seemed like these last few years I've been so consumed with my book and with doing research that everything I'm reading is now research. So right now I am reading Push Out. I can't remember the author's name right now. And it is actually about how Black girls are being pushed out of schools.
Wow.
So that's the book I'm reading. Now, there was a great article, I think, in The Atlantic this week that was about that book and about that very thing, about how Black girls are being overly disciplined. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely have to check that out. I wanted to ask something about your next project that you're working on with talking to Black girls specifically and their parents. I find it interesting. I can totally understand being a young Black woman. It wasn't too long ago that I was a girl, like 15 years, whatever, but I guess that is a long time when you really think about it, but it feels like it was just yesterday. I find it interesting that we are still dealing with some of the same issues that we were back then, but even more severely in the climate that we're in with all this Black girl magic and all this affirmation and things like that, because growing up, like, I received, affirmation at home, thankfully, but, as far as role models outside of the home that I could go to, they were kind of few and far in between, and now I feel like we have a few more that are different. They're not necessarily all entertainers. Some of them are just, thought leaders in whatever different industries and fields that they're in. And with technology, they're a lot more accessible. But I find it interesting that we're still having those issues, even though all this stuff is like literally right at our fingertips. Why do you think that is?
Because sexism and racism still exist.
It always goes back to that. It's crazy, but it's true. It really does.
And it changes, but it's still there.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not, our parents all have tried, and they always try. But one of the girls that we interviewed just recently, we're working on a chapter on beauty, and she said, my parents have always affirmed me, but the thing is, I spend most of my day not at home. And what happens outside is I'm not being affirmed. I'm not being affirmed at school. And so then she's like, I know my parents love me, but still it's hard, because she said, I get far more negative input about who I am than I do positive.
That's a great point.
Yeah,
That's a great point. Because kids are so busy nowadays. It's our families. Like, you know, you drop your kid off here, you're at work, and then the dad might have to work overtime, and you rarely see him. I'm just thinking about how I grew up.
Yeah.
And you're right.
And another thing that didn't exist, well, it didn't exist when I was a girl, is social media. But, you know, and what is it, 80%, I was just reading, I think it's 80% of teens are online. A huge number of them check social media multiple times a day. And so that becomes another communication point. So another place where they're getting hit with all kinds of memes and messages about, you know, blackness and femaleness and all of these things that can mess them up.
For sure. And there's tons of mixed messages out there. It is outrageous. Like, I know sometimes, you know, as Black women, we'll talk about the issue of colorism. And I bring up to people, I didn't necessarily experience that until I was outside of my house. And by the time I did, I was confused, because I was like, well, why is that even a thing? Like, in my household, I am the darkest of my mother's children, but it was never a thing. Like, it was never like, oh, you know, you're different or whatever. Like, I'm sure I noticed it on some subconscious level, but it was never like an overt thing. So then to go outside of the house where I spend the majority of my time and be confronted with this, and I'm like, well, what is that? Like, so confusing. And nowadays it's even worse with, you know.
The girls talked about how, you know, in my house, they say the same thing. In my household, doesn't matter, brown skin, light skin, whatever. All of our families usually come in this range of colors. But then they go online, and there's team light skin, team dark skin hashtags on Twitter. And there's white girls do it better hashtags on Tumblr. And they see their friends and their classmates passing these around. And so and in some cases, they're sitting right next to their parents while they're thumbing through and seeing these things. So how do you help them not be impacted by that?
Difficult. I mean, like, even myself growing up, like, I guess, like, in my house, like, my father is a couple shades darker than me, and my mother is probably like Ebony's color. So, I mean, like, in the house, like, there was no, like, you never thought about it. But as you grow up, you hear different comments and different things here and there. And then, you know, just as a teenage girl anyway, you already have this other weird stuff going on, because you're like, what's happening in my body? It's falling apart. Everything is so weird. And then, you know, it gets to that point where you're kind of like, is something wrong with me? Do I look as, you know, like, I don't get it. But I think the more as I've just personally just grown up and gotten older, like, I wouldn't change my skin color for anything. Like, I absolutely love my skin color, but I could, that wasn't always the case just growing up, because there's just so many messages.
You had to go through a process to write all rightness. Definitely a process. What are some of the things that you're hearing from parents through your research, without giving too much away, because you guys need to go and buy the book, of course, but what are some of the things that you're hearing from parents as far as, like, how they're trying to infiltrate all that mess and, you know, redirect it to a different place?
So right now we're working specifically on a chapter about beauty. So that's what we've been talking to moms about. And a couple of the things are, you know, helping them to celebrate Black beauty. So, and all of these things have to be proactive. So it's not just, I think a lot of times we assume, of course my daughter knows that Black is beautiful. I mean, God, I mean, look at our family, but we're not anticipating all that stuff that happens outside. So they're talking about showing them pictures of beautiful Black women, showing them pictures of beautiful Black women with their natural hair, who aren't necessarily weaved up, and, you know, their hair isn't conforming to community standards that people think they should be. They talk about teaching them that beautiful is not the most important thing you can be.
No.
Because people prioritize beauty. So de-emphasizing that in your household. You know, one of the moms said, I try to find other things to compliment my girls on other than their looks. She's like, it's not that, I mean, they're cute, they're lovely. I call them my beauties as a nickname, but I'm like, I like your hair today. I like that outfit. You're smart. You're, you know, and she said, I think about that when I'm praising other girls. You know, it's not, oh, she's so cute, as opposed to she's a great athlete and she's a, you know, that kind of thing. And moms also talked about working on their own stuff. So you aren't in front of your daughters and nieces and stuff going, oh, I just need to lose 5 pounds, or my edges are so nappy, I got to put on my wig. Or, you know, I wish I wasn't so dark. You know, repeating that stuff that you're insecure about. And thus, because, you know, you look at your moms, you look at your aunt, you look at your grandmother, and a lot of times that's your body. They've got your skin type. They've, you know, they're wide hips or your wide hips, you know, whatever you see as a flaw, there are younger girls looking at you who look like you who are then going to internalize that.
That is very, very true. That was a big one growing up, because like with my grandmother coming from the generation that she did, that sitting out in the sun, something so simple as going out in the sun in the summertime, she said something about, I'm not going out there. I don't need to get no blacker than I already am. So then it makes you wonder, like, well, should I stay in the house too? Like, should I not go outside? So it's so interesting that you bring that up about our mothers and our aunts and our grandmothers checking their stuff to make sure that they're not, you know, incidentally projecting.
A lot of women, one of the things we've been talking about is the first time you hear some of those negative messages about blackness and femaleness often comes from family. It often comes from fathers and brothers and mothers. One woman told me her mother taught her how to tuck her lips, like how to hold them. So I don't know, like how to hold your lips so they don't look so big. And it's like, you know, a lot of that. I'm like, you know, one woman said, you know, I came home once with my hair in cornrows, and my grandmother was like, you look like a pickaninny. You need to get that out of your head. Wow. I mean, a lot of those messages we get come from family first, and then we expect girls to go out in the world and feel confident about what they look like.
Yeah. It's some deep stuff. And we could go on and on and on. But Miss Tamara, thank you so much for spending this time with us. We definitely appreciate it. Where can people connect with you online?
You can learn more about me and read some of my writing at TamaraWinfreyHarris.com, TAMARA WinfreyHarris.com. You can find me as What Tammy Said on Twitter and Tamara Winfrey Harris author page on Facebook. And you can find The Sisters Are All Right at your favorite bookstore, Barnes & Noble, support your local indie bookstore, or on Amazon.
Awesome. Tamara Winfrey Harris is going to be one of our guests on Saturday at our authors meetup event at Indie Reads Books. We'll be there from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Massachusetts Avenue. So join us and stay tuned. You're listening to The Recorder Report on RadioNext.tv.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
That was
Thank
compelling.
you.
Oh, good.
No, honestly, when you
Buy the book.
I will. No doubt. But here's what I'm, when I'm over here listening, here's what's funny. We talk about racism, the different colors and shades. The illusion today for young African Americans is that it doesn't exist, while the establishment knows it really does.
Right.
So they're trying to keep it vanilla unless the population is growing up. But the same tactics still exist from the establishment. So we've got to train our young people up about their history and how this thing got to where it is today. Else they won't even understand that they're running against.
Right, and the same kids who are saying there is no racism are going team light skin, team dark skin.
Exactly.
That's the perpetuated. That's the result of it.
When you were speaking about the
And Kelly, I was waiting
about
for you
the
to
little
talk.
Because
girls,
Because
I don't feel like I can really talk about.
I think you
I
can.
read about that.
No, let me say this.
viewpoint?
Your viewpoint is
I
important
read
because
also on a separate article
the goal is to be able to get together without any walls or any barriers, but the barriers and walls are there. So what you think is important as a person, you don't have that thing going on. Because see, this is inherited stuff, and I tell people all the time.
Nowadays,
slavery is still in the fabric
Yeah,
of
we
the
are.
being
We're doing great
of
as
us.
entrepreneurs, although we
It's
can't
just in the
always get
fabric.
funded.
And
There's
even
big
though
stuff,
we
get
can
black
mentally
women,
say,
we have
okay,
these
I'm free
businesses,
and all
but we
that,
can't get like
the system
entrepreneurial funding.
that was passed, like what
So
you were saying about your
it's
grandmother,
interesting.
I can remember that stuff too. You know, and it's like, that's how you were trained.
Right.
It's
what
a
you
lot to
thought.
undo all
It's
that
a lot to
conditioning.
undo all of that
Right.
conditioning. And when your grandpa sits down and tells you stuff and you're 5 or 6 years old, your mind is like, that's what is.
Well, that, and that's one of the things we're finding, like, it's hard to help younger generations work through this stuff when half of us have not worked through it either.
Yeah.
So.
Or the reality of, like I said, I can remember the signs at 57 in Illinois when we couldn't stop in the town because coloreds couldn't do that. I can remember that at 5 and 6. So when it's embedded, it's like a different thing. But when you never witnessed it, and you grow up, and we're only 50 years removed, but a generation now, they don't know that about racism. Everybody's good.
But they think they don't.
And they
Because,
think
like,
they don't.
you look at that girl in South Carolina, that video of the girl in the school who was the resource officer. I know you all saw it.
Oh, yeah, when she got slammed out of the seat.
Because she was looking at her phone and wouldn't stop, and he slammed her like she was.
And it was just
a
accepted.
Yeah, it was
That's
What did she do?
Right, what did she do?
Like, it ain't about what she did, it's about
That's-
the
it's
things
just
she's
flat out wrong.
grown man
She
and
was
throwing her.
right.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And she's a girl.
Yeah,
Right.
like, come on now.
And even if she was a boy, I mean,
Yeah,
what?
still.
what?
No, I mean the first
They wouldn't have-
the first thing should be there's another way to handle that incident.
Right.
from
So
a
many
person.
other ways.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and that should be addressed first, and then after you get all that solved, then you go to the behavior of the child and say, okay, look, you will continuously get expelled or whatever if you keep doing this, not adhering to the rule. But
If you can't even get a child to do what you say, I know you can't get an adult to do what you say.
Right. What happened to go to the principal's office? I don't know. I mean, how did we get to toss? I don't know.
A headlock.
Right.
Yes. Crazy.
Will you all be there Saturday?
Yes.
Yay,
Yes.
okay.
So we'll see you then.
Yay.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Bye. See you. Have a good
Take
one.
care now.
Thank you. Can you come over here? Oh yeah. Come join us.
And this is about 5 till, so I can get him in here at 12.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I'll have I've already got the first one on my USB.
Okay. Awesome.
And then the
Yeah.
second hour will be like right at 12:01.
Okay.
So you don't
Perfect.
have to
Yeah.
stay long.
Yeah. We can go ahead and come back after this song is over.
It's my kind of show. I sit around all these ladies.
That's what I'm talking about. Anthony, tell me where the next party's at. That's the
Oh,
dad. I'm not
goodness.
pull up on you and say, how can I have this dad?
I don't even care what we talking about today. I just like the company.
Yeah. Thanks. I was gonna tell you something about that. Oh, Ebony, do you want to talk about this as soon as we get back on? The
You ready,
paper?
Abby?
Yeah. Okay.
You ready, ladies?
You can go. You guys can go ahead and take it out. Talk about the paper.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Recorder Report on RadioNext.tv. Before we get too caught up in talking about our authors meetup and talking with another author that we'll have with us, we want to mention the Indianapolis Recorder is on newsstands. We worked our tails off yesterday and all week to get this out for you, so pick it up today. Our lead story is about the potential presidentiality of Donald Trump.
The headline is President Trump with a question.
I don't even like seeing that. I didn't want to say it.
Yeah,
So,
I know.
Yeah, so Victoria talked with some people in the community, got some various opinions on Donald Trump and his campaign and how people are feeling about how that's going. So check that out. I'm sure that you also all have your own opinions and can hopefully relate to some of what's in there.
I do have to make a disclaimer because when I was looking for people to talk with to this about, they were saying how, why are we talking about Trump? What about Bernie Sanders? What about this person? What about that person?
Mm-hmm.
Which I understand. You should talk about all the candidates. However,
Sure.
there's a spotlight on Trump because he's the most controversial. We'll just say that, especially for our community. And as much as he's been saying about minorities in general, that's why we're talking about Trump, to address that person.
For sure, to address that person And I think that it's really important to pay attention to this and point a critical eye to it, because as the race continues on throughout the country, it's looking like Indiana is going to be a decision-making state as far as the presidential race is concerned.
That doesn't happen with us very often.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. So this is a very, very weird political climate that we're in right now. So it won't be too long before potentially Mr. Trump and his goons show up on Indiana soil.
Yeah.
And when that happens, we all have our ideas about what needs to happen. Me personally, if there's a movement to shut it down, I'm going to be there to shut it down, because he shouldn't be able to come here and open up his mouth. And I know we're supposed to be impartial and all that good stuff, but I mean, that's why stuff like this is important.
We have enough problems, we have enough trouble without him coming here stirring the pot.
Yeah, no, we don't need any pot stirring.
I mean,
no.
We can handle it, Trump. Stay away.
Yes, stay where you at. Appreciate it. What else is in the paper this week?
Oh, there's a new executive director of Flanner House, which is a very long time community organization over on MLK at 24th. They do a lot with seniors and children, and I feel like probably everybody's heard of Flanner House, but they've got a new executive director in there now, Brandon Cosby. So I spoke with him about some of what he wants to do in his role, and then also the previous executive director, Mr. Buckner, he left his role because he passed away in October. So he left some things undone. So Brandon and I talked about how he is taking what Mr. Buckner started and taking what Brandon wants to do and putting them together into something nice and harmonious and honoring the legacy that Mr. Buckner left.
Yeah, it was a very great legacy.
I think it's an interesting read.
Yeah, definitely. Rest in peace to him. And you guys pick up the Recorder this week. There is tons of great stuff in here. The Around Town cover is about flashy spring eyewear.
Yes. Lots of colors in there.
Lots of colors. So I know you guys are going to make me break the budget on that one. And also our literary tab, dive into the pages of literature. So that is going to be really awesome. Speaking of, we have another one of our panelists here this afternoon for the Authors Fair happening tomorrow.
Yes, we've got Antoine Floyd Sr. with us. He's going to be at the Authors Fair, which is not tomorrow, it's on Saturday.
Did I say tomorrow again?
You did say it.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I got it.
This Freudian, I have to be anxious because I'm just like, I've slipped like 80. This is really.
Don't show up tomorrow, guys.
Please don't listen to me.
Antoine, in addition to being an author, he's also a publisher, and he owns Malia Solange Independent Booksellers. So, a man who wears many hats in the publishing world. Antoine, will you just start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Well, first I want to say thank you for having me on and inviting me to the event on Saturday.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm really honored that you guys remembered me to even ask me to be involved. And about myself, I'm an implant to Indianapolis. I've been here for 3 years now. I moved here from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Me and my oldest son, he stays here with me. He's 16. Goes right over to Warren. I got in the mall, Washington Square Mall. I've been in there for 8 months now, so I'm getting close to my year mark. I'm kind of excited about that. Yes, people have been very receptive of me being in there, being that there's no place to buy books on the east side, so people have been receptive of that. So I'm happy about that. I have regulars now and everything, and yes, so
That's good. So I spoke with you when you first opened your kiosk, and so what is business like since then? I know you said you have regulars, but really, like, how's it been for you, honestly?
Honestly, it was a test. It was very testing because in that mall, Washington Square Mall, is not the greatest mall here.
Seen better days.
Yeah, definitely.
So you have to be very outgoing to people because they will walk right past you. So in the beginning, like when she came to interview me, I didn't have that many titles on my
I
stand.
thought you had a good amount. Honestly, I did.
I didn't feel like I
I
did.
did.
Well, I have a lot more since then.
That's good.
Yes, and now that I have more titles, and I became more outgoing towards people, walking past, stopping them, like, look what I have. Business has increased, and my regulars that come, they're always looking for something new, and luckily that the authors out there who are looking for exposure have been forthcoming with sending their books to me, so I get new stuff in weekly.
Excellent, excellent. To give you guys an idea of some of the stuff that Antoine has, he so graciously gifted us with some of his titles today. The one I'm holding is Married But Single. It's published by Divine Creations Publishing. It is by Alethea Person Speller and Carla Brown, so I can't wait to get into this one.
The one I have is called Fistful of Tears, and it's by Benita Moon Pendleton.
And I've got the Jay Wilkinson story, 13 going on 35. Is this an autobiography?
I believe so. His his pen name is Arthur Godson.
Yes, I saw that, and I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. I was kind of confused at first when I saw it.
But yeah, and it's got lots of pictures, and it looks like it could be a really great story.
Excellent, excellent. So Antoine, what inspired you to start an independent bookstore? Where did that idea come from?
Well, to be completely honest, it's kind of twofold. One is the author of this book right here, Fistful of Tears, Benita Moon Pendleton. She has her own store that she opened up in Virginia.
Oh, okay.
And I kind of got the idea from her. So that's one part of it. And the second part is when I first moved here, before I moved here, I used to go to the bookstore all the time when I lived in Minnesota. And I came here and I couldn't find any. I'm looking online, well, at least none where I live, near where I live. So I found that kind of disappointing. So that's what made me take the step towards getting in the mall and trying to provide a needed service.
So how did you go about selecting the mall? Like, what was the process like? Did you initially want to?
I was nervous about getting in the mall because, you know, when you take a new venture in life, doubts creep into your mind.
Yeah.
So it was one of those situations where it was like, if you ask for something, be prepared to get it. Because I emailed them, and they emailed me back the next day and told me how much it was going to be. Am I ready to get in there? So I emailed them like maybe in June, and I told them I didn't want to seem like I was unprepared, so I told them I could get in there in August, and I didn't have any books. But I made it happen.
Yeah, wow, that is amazing. So I mean, it's just a testament to what it takes to really make things happen, staying persistent even when you have obstacles in your way. I wanted to ask specifically about the type of titles that you decide to have in your store. These are things that you can't go into, like Tammy mentioned earlier, like a Barnes and Noble or a Walmart or somewhere like that to find specific things like this. I hate to just categorize it as urban literature, but for lack of a better phrase, urban literature. There's not a lot of places where you can go and find stuff like this. So why that type of literature? Why is that what you mainly?
Basically, like in the name of my store is Malia Solange Independent Booksellers. So I go for independent authors. The demographic that I have, my customer fan base in the area where I am is between 15 years old to I'll say like maybe 50, 60 African American women.
Wow.
So that's why I go for these type of titles. I have a few white authors books in the store, and I think a Hispanic lady, I have her books, but they're all predominantly black authors. But they range in genres, because I think most people, when it comes to us, the first thing we think about, like you said, is urban fiction.
Yeah.
But I have like this probably would be categorized as maybe urban fiction. Then, like she said, that's like a biography or autobiography. This right here would be more like contemporary fiction. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I carry some psychological thrillers, some sci-fi, some children's books, but they're all Black authors. You know, and I make sure I make that distinction when people come and take a look at what I have, because I don't want them to clump everything together.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel like that happens a lot with Black authors, that everything gets clumped together in a more mainstream, either mainstream publishing or mainstream bookstore, like everything just gets clumped into one category?
Yes, it does. Like, well, I'm not sure if it's still like that now. I haven't been in the Barnes and Noble in a while, but I remember at one point they did just put all of the Black authors together. You know what I'm saying? And I've heard arguments from both sides. Some people say it's a good thing because when they go in the store, they can find exactly what they're looking for. But then I heard some people say it's a bad thing because other people who may not gravitate to that area, they won't find their books because it's not mixed in with the other people.
Yeah.
Because if I write sci-fi, why is my book over here with hood books?
Yeah, I mean, let's be real.
That's real.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah.
Well, they should be able to put them in both places.
I think.
Yeah,
I think that would be the answer.
If they have enough stock, they could put some here and some.
Yeah, they could potentially put them in both places. Yeah.
So I've heard arguments on both sides.
Do you have a? Well, I guess I want to ask you, where'd you get the name of your store from?
Malia Solange. Excuse me. That's my daughter's name.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's sweet. That's very sweet. Yeah. I wanted to ask you about, I read an article where they interviewed Sister Soldier, who a lot of people know her primarily from The Coldest Winter Ever. She's written a whole lot of other titles since then, but a lot of people know her from that. And that book, I know for a lot of young women, kind of sparked their interest in reading. People that would have never read before would pick up. That was like our generation's I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings.
Yeah, it was.
and I do not mean that in a derogatory way at all, because I've read both books several times and loved them both, and I'll read pretty much anything. But a lot of girls who weren't big readers, we would get The Coldest Winter Ever. We would get Zane novels, even though we wasn't supposed to read them. We would get Zane novels. Omar Tyree's book Fly Girl, those books, and they just got shuffled.
I forgot about that
Yes,
one.
Fly Girl. Yeah, so they would get shuffled around. Like if one person had it, everybody would read it. We would just take turns reading it, and it inspired this love of reading. And for some of us, writing. So I wanted to get your perspective on that, on how, even though like the urban literature or other Black authors, how this independent stuff has really helped spark a movement of reading amongst young Black people.
Excuse me. If we have to give anybody credit for that, I would have to say it would be, what is her name? I believe it's, can't remember her name. The lady who did Triple Crown.
I've never heard of Triple Crown.
Triple Crown is huge. Triple Crown is huge.
HB, you know about Triple Crown? Is that just me?
He's laughing because I picked up my phone and started looking I'm on it.
Yes.
I can't remember her name. Vicky Stringer. Oh, that's her name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Vicky Stringer. She sparked that reading buzz, like you said, for like Sister Soldier did. Vicky Stringer did the same thing because she came out with a bunch of urban fiction books. And she really hit the prisons hard,
Oh, yeah.
She hit the prisons really hard. Like most of the people who come to my spot, they say I used to read a lot. And I was like, and they always come asking for some Triple Crown books. That's what they call them, Triple Crowns. That's the name of her publishing company. So I think anything that get a person to read is good. Because even if they do start out reading hood books, people grow and their interests change. So they're not going to always read those books.
Yeah, it's going to expose their minds to other things, because even like we talked about before, writing a book, how that's such a huge undertaking to go from like maybe you'll write a poem or you'll write an article or whatever, but then to wrap your mind around the idea of writing an entire book. That's a big undertaking. And then you take reading an entire book is a big undertaking for a lot of people, because we don't, I mean, especially now with technology going the way it is, people don't read if they don't have to, you know?
I have this is what I tell people who come and tell me that they don't read. I say, buy the book, put it on the back of the toilet.
Yeah.
You know you're going to read at least once a day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, at least if you're regular.
Goodness gracious.
And you get through a couple pages every day, you'll be done.
Yeah, eventually.
That's good advice.
Yes, for sure.
As long as you don't get too lost in the book and forget to get up. That's bad news.
Yeah, that could be very bad news. Very bad news. Yes. So Antoine, we know that Malia Solange is located in Washington Square Mall. What are your store hours? When can people stop by?
People can stop by because I still have my regular gig. So I don't.
We understand. I get it.
I don't typically get there till like 6 o'clock and stay until the mall closes at 9. I know some people say that that's not very much time, but I still run across people who don't even know I'm there. So I tell them so I'm here Monday through Friday 6 to 9, and then Saturday and Sunday I'm there all day.
Yeah.
Open and close, I'm there.
Excellent. So you all join us Saturday. Saturday. I almost did it again. Join us Saturday at the Authors Meetup event at Indie Roots Books on Massachusetts Avenue, and it's going to be amazing. Antoine's going to be there. Carmen's going to be there. Miss Rita Wise, she's a local author and a longtime salesperson at the Indianapolis Recorder, and Tamara Winfrey Harris is going to be there as well. So it's going to be really awesome.
Great. Alrighty. Well, do you have any?
No, I guess that's it. So thanks for listening, and thank you for being here, Antoine, and we look forward to seeing you Saturday, and we'll be back next week, same place, same time. You're listening to the Recorder Report on RadioNext.tv.
Awesome show, ladies.
Yes.
I forgot I was doing the raps.
No, that's okay. I was like,
Antoine, you have a minute?
Yes.
My man who's getting ready to do Business Builders Plus heard your story and said he would love to, we'll talk about your story.
Yeah.